Great. I think I have a lot information now.
Awesome.
I want to make sure I kind of dive into what I think the next three actionable steps for your business would
Sure.
be.
I was doing it at a much lower level than I was at. Then I quickly found out students don't have any money to spend, so it's very difficult to help students unless you're doing it for free. But I was working in a lot of different groups on Discord and friends, family, all that fun stuff for students, new grads.
I've recently started doing it with my clients and essentially beta testing what we're going to do in the accelerator. And overnight, essentially, my posts have, multiple 5-10x. And that's also led to 5-10x in leads. Maybe not exactly correlated to that,
Yep.
but it's still at least 4x my leads. And even see the same results for clients. Meet Regan Setter. He's been a career coach for over 4 years, has done 6 figures in his business, but feel like his business has plateaued. He has had a hard start to 2025, and he decided to do his career coach's makeover so that he can get over that plateau and scale his business to over $40,000 a month. In this conversation that you're about to see, I dive into his business and give him the next 3 steps so he can go from making $15,000 a month to $40,000 a month. Enjoy the conversations with Regan Setter. All right, Regan, welcome to the Career Coaches Makeover Hour. Super excited to have you here to dive into your business a little bit. Even before we kind of hit record, just chatting with you, it's awesome what you are building, what you want to build, and I agree with you. I personally don't want to go back to corporate, so I want to be able to, how do we build a career coaching business that is scalable, impactful, and profitable, and it's ultimately a win-win for everyone involved. So Regan, welcome. How are you?
Good. I think you hit a lot of the kind of notes or nails on the head for me. And I'm seeing a lot of people do the same thing online too, which is interesting. So I have a decent amount of new friends, I guess, or relationships I've built on LinkedIn. And it's a lot of the people in the creator industry who, and maybe not creator, but that's part of what they're doing. And they all say the same thing, that the freedom aspect of it is making a big difference. And even in the future, I think by 2030, you'll see a lot more people building businesses for themselves. Of course, you have to give up a lot, but I think what you get in return makes a huge difference.
Yeah. What I'm excited about the future of, the creator economy, a lot more people are looking to build businesses and be able to monetize their knowledge, is seeing more and more very, very qualified, smart, brilliant individuals go into career coaching. So it's like you want to help people, break in tech,
Yeah.
but you have a tech background. So it's you're getting this perspective, not only just from an HR perspective. Actually, it's even more important for someone who's actually done the role. So that's super excited. So Regan, why don't you tell me more about you, your business, and then I'll ask some follow-up questions. Then we dive into some actionable steps to take after.
Sure, that works for me. So as you know, of course, my name's Regan. Before working in tech, I worked in a bunch of different blue collar roles. So being from a small city or a small town that's about 30,000 people in Saskatchewan, again, another small province in Canada. There's only about 1 million people throughout the whole province. I never really thought that I could go to university. It's probably the best way to put it, or I didn't have the financial means to do it. However, I managed to go. I was in and out of university, tried different stuff. And for the most part, I never got a whole lot of value out of what was being taught to me. So I tried a bunch of different blue collar roles, kind of anything that could pay me 6 figures. And I quickly learned that a lot of the people that I worked with, I just didn't get along with, probably based on my personality and my background, who I am. So eventually, I was sitting in this interview at CP Rail for a rail traffic controller job, similar to air traffic control, but obviously for the railway. And while I was sitting there, I got a phone call for a job I applied to at SaskTel, which is the largest telecom company in Saskatchewan, and it's government owned, so it pays quite well. Lo and behold, the interview at CP Rail for rail traffic control didn't work out. I didn't prepare my own interview star stories, which is something I teach now, oddly enough. But I stalled out on a few of my answers because I didn't have a story in mind to tell them about. I could have literally picked anything. It would have been better than sitting there in awkward silence for a minute or two. But then I got this phone call from SaskTel, and I ended up getting a job there, and that kind of kickstarted my career in tech. I've worked in IT, software development, and product management. Oddly enough, one of the reasons that I do career coaching now is because I've been able to break into those three industries without any educational background. So I don't have a degree. I didn't really have much of a LinkedIn presence, so I wasn't doing a whole lot of networking to get those jobs. And most of them, for some reason, they've all paid very, very well. Whereas on the flip side, most people struggle to break into any of those industries, even at a very low level, like help desk or an associate product manager. PM now is basically, it seems almost impossible to break in. There's so many people and it's so competitive. And then same thing with software development. It's very competitive. I had a client recently that I worked with who we managed to do it in about 3 or 4 weeks. But before that, he sent out like 700 applications and just no luck. So the reason I do career coaching now for normally it's senior to executives, but sometimes I take junior to intermediate, just depending on kind of their situation, I guess, because I've been in their shoes, is because of my tech background. So most of the time, whenever anybody comes to me, they work in product or they're a software engineer or they want to work in IT or any of those fields. And I have experience working in them. So I know obviously what worked for me to pivot into those industries. And then I know a lot about the industry itself, which is nice. So I can relate to my clients on what they did in their previous role, what they might want to showcase on their resume, or specific stories that might make more impact throughout an interview and so forth. Whereas I feel like on the flip side, if you just get somebody with an HR background who's been in recruitment for 10 plus years or been like a director, VP of HR, they know a lot about that part of the business, but not as much about the job itself that you're doing.
Regan, let me ask you some questions more. How long have you been a career coach?
4 years. I started in 2021.
And how many testimonials or success stories would you say you have if you had to take a guess?
One of my flaws is that I don't really post them. So that's something that obviously affects my business. But if I had to guess how many I have, I'd probably have a pretty good number. Like I'd say 50 to 100 at least. I have lots of referrals on LinkedIn, probably 20 plus from clients. And then I've got, my website doesn't work at the moment because I'm pivoting out from that and going to school. But I have like 40 to 50 testimonials on there. I do public speaking for a couple different local tech communities in Calgary, Alberta. And I've done like a dozen events there. Everybody loves me there. And I get a lot of good results. Like that guy I was just talking about, his name's Dylan. I worked with him for about 3 to 4 weeks only, just in December and the start of January. And he went from bartending to a software developer role with no CS background or no CS degree in like 4 weeks. And normally for most people, that doesn't happen. It's pretty difficult.
That is incredible. So 4 years, testimonials are there. Yeah. What's your offer look like?
So I've had a number of different offers over the years. I've tried a lot of different things. When I first began, oddly, it was just referrals. So I was getting tons of referrals from people in the community that I was working with. Discord, oddly enough, Discord communities that I was in for like product management and software development. And I was just doing like one-to-one work. Now I'm pivoting to group on school. So I have a free funnel and I'm just pushing everything to school. So before I was doing it to my newsletter, I think maybe I suck at writing newsletter marketing. This is probably the best way to put it. So instead, I pushed everyone into this free school group. I've got about 60 people in there in the last week. I just began it. Okay. And everybody that's in it so far loves it. And they love that I'm giving away free value to them and answering their questions, and that it's almost more personal because I'm obviously the only person coaching in there. And then it's small at the moment, which is a huge benefit for them. As it grows, probably be a little more hectic. But I have 2 offers right now. So I have, and kind of my goal in the future is I have my free school program. So I funnel everyone to it. Everything from LinkedIn. I'm going to do YouTube soon. I'm probably going to add in reels and shorts and all that fun stuff. And then I'll funnel all that to my school community. Then I'll do my calls each week, like Q&A or office hours or whatever I want to do. And I'll probably build in some type of like pre-buy experience in those calls to push people to a paid school group. For that, I charge 2,000 USD. It's for the whole year, so they get 12 months. And with that, they get a professional resume rewrite. They get a professional LinkedIn rewrite and design, AI headshots. I redo their banners for them. My banner looks pretty cool, so I'm fairly creative and can do some pretty high quality ones. And then everything else is just in video format. So there's about 4 or 5 different courses in there on LinkedIn, networking, interviewing, job search strategy, tools and resources, all that fun stuff. And you can just go through them at your own time. And then we do calls in the paid one, 1 call a day, just for like Q&A, anybody can join. And then clients who I put in that are successful and want to take it further, I'll do 1-to-1. So I'd scale them into a 1-to-1 package that's 7,000 USD. Unlimited everything is probably the best way to put it. So
How
I'll
many?
revise. Go
So
ahead.
is this relatively new offer, or have you sold people into?
I've sold them before. So the most or the highest offer I've ever sold is 15,000 USD. For that
Okay.
offer, it was basically a done for you. And then I coach them through interviews. So I actually run the whole job search for them. It was a ton of work. I
Yeah.
think you said you did 1-to-1 before. So you quickly run out of time doing an offer like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it was 15,000. I managed their whole job search. And then I prepare them for their interviews. When they get them in their inbox, I say, hey, you've got interviews. Go ahead and book them whatever days. We'll prepare for them. We'll go through each step of the interview process with them. And then toward the end, I'll do their negotiation for them, actually. So something unique that I do that I haven't seen anyone do. So for anyone who watches this that wants to steal it, it's probably a good idea. But one part of my offer that's very unique for 1-to-1 is I'll do their salary negotiation for them. So I've negotiated hundreds of offers. Yeah. So I'll just go through email. I'll do the whole thing for them, all the scripts. And then if it doesn't work, I'll just refund them for it. So it's just an add-on service, totally risk-free. Either it works and you get 10, 20, 30% more, or it doesn't work and you get refunded.
So that's an additional from the $7,000.
Yeah, no, in the 7, it's free. In the school, technically it's not free. It comes with it. In the school program, you'd pay 1,500 USD extra.
So that's an add-on.
Yeah, and the reason I do that is because I've taught dozens and dozens of public speaking events and posted on LinkedIn and done 1-to-1 salary negotiation coaching with clients. And I always find out that they still don't negotiate, and it comes down to their lack of confidence. To me, and also it's kind of depersonalized because it's not my offer. So even though I'm excited that they have the offer, it doesn't directly make a huge difference to me. So I feel like I can negotiate for more or kind of push the limit, whatever our goal is. So we kind of mutually benefit the company and the person themselves. It seems to make a huge difference, whereas clients tend to, like I said, I had just had somebody get an offer, I think last week. His name's Zane, and he didn't negotiate. He was just like, yeah, it seems awesome. Let's just take it. And
they're just excited to get it.
Yeah, he's just excited to start, to get the offer and so forth. To break down my offer a little more, school is free. It's all videos. It's all courses. There's group Q&A within it. And then if you upgrade, it just goes to 1-to-1. So it's basically all the same stuff, but 1-to-1 with unlimited coaching. I limit it technically to 1 session a week, but you have unlimited forever until you land a job. Salary negotiations there. And then we also do application support for you. So if you need help doing applications because you just can't get that number, the quantity out that you want, we do them for you as well.
Included in the $7,000.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's more like kind of like a combination of done for you and done with you is probably the best way to put it. And then school is kind of like independent, but you still have the coaching aspect because you can log in and do your Q&A calls whenever you need help.
Yeah. And how many people have you sold on the $7,000 type of program?
It's honestly, I've sold more into that than I have into school. into my
School's relatively new. So
the school one is new. Group is new. I I'm guessing maybe I can sell more people into that. It's the whole purpose is
Yeah.
so there's a more
It's like an
budget
intro
friendly
part.
option. Yeah.
Mhm.
1-to-1, I've sold at least, I don't know, probably close to 65 to 75 people into that. And then I used to have other packages. They've ranged from about 4,000 USD up to that one at 15. The 15 one, I've only sold a handful of people. It's very rare you find somebody that needs that exact solution. So like maybe 10 there.
Yeah.
And then the $7,000 one it's been my best sold one. That's normally what people end up buying.
Yeah. What would you say is the average income that someone that you work with gets a job making?
That the client makes after working with me?
Yeah, average.
Probably 200,000 is pretty close.
Are you working with people just in Canada or US too?
No, most of my clients are in the US. I have Canadian clients, but I charge in US dollars. So the cost is definitely much, much higher in Canada. I normally give people a bit of a discount to match kind of the dollar situation between the two.
Mhm.
But the work culture in Canada is much different. So I found that most people, like most of my clients, come from San Francisco, Bay Area, New York, Houston, Seattle, Denver, Colorado, or Boulder, kind of all the main tech hubs.
Tech hubs. Yep.
We have similar ones in Canada, but we just don't get paid the same amount. Like
Yeah,
normally,
yeah.
if you
I
hit
was like,
200,
when you said 200, I was like, if you're getting clients in Canada consistently 200, I was like, that's phenomenal.
oh, it's hard.
Yeah, yeah.
I worked with a guy just before 2025, and we got him 200,000 at a startup in Canada. But like, it's hard. It's very,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
hard.
So tell me more about marketing. So where are you marketing? Where are you generating your
Only on
leads?
LinkedIn. So to be totally transparent, I'm quite self-aware, and I know a lot about what I've probably been doing right and what I've been doing wrong in my business. Do I always know how to fix it? No, I have a pretty good idea. It's somewhat discouraging when you log into LinkedIn, you make a post, and last year it did really well, and this year you get 10 likes on it once in a while, and you're like,
Mhm.
this is interesting. What happened? I just did 1 million impressions last week. So that's awesome. But I do all my marketing on LinkedIn. I haven't tried any other platforms yet. I'm gonna look into video. I really want to do video. Um, I think it makes a huge difference, especially for school and
Workshops too.
funneling people to it at scale, I guess is the best way to put it. But I do LinkedIn, and I do all different types of stuff on there: carousels,
Yeah,
text, all that fun stuff. Some weeks I do really good. Last year I did 10 million impressions, so I mean, I'm there. It's
great.
quite a large number. And then when I do lead magnets, sometimes they do really well. Last week I did one that had like 600, 700 leads, which is unheard of for a resume template. And then other times I do it, and like I did a couple for school so far, and I've gotten, I don't know, 30, 40 people from that. So sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's not.
Yeah. Um, so on average, first of all, what do you consider a lead?
Sure. So I'd say there's different types of leads. First, to clarify. So you can have warm leads, cold leads, people you know. I kind of manually sort them all in my CRM.
Okay.
I use HubSpot. I manually sort everything. I'm sure there's a tool I could use, but I'll use like a scraping tool, put them all into my CRM on HubSpot, and then sort through them all and add notes and all that fun stuff. Um, For leads, for the lead magnet, I do it so you have to comment. So you're commenting a specific word, or you're
Yep.
trying to further engage the post so more people see it, you repost it, all that fun stuff. And then that would be like a cold lead if I haven't ever interacted with them or I don't know them at all. And then if I have seen them and spoken to them and so forth, it kind of depends. There's some people that will still interact with my stuff all the time, and I've done a sales call with them,
Hmm.
and it wasn't in their budget, but they still love what I do, so they want all my free stuff. Probably like it's still a pretty good lead, but like they probably won't be buying for a few months at least. So uh, I chat with
Maybe
those
now
people
with
every once in a while, and
maybe
then
now with the 2K offer.
yeah, yeah, That looks quite a bit better for most people so far. What I've been doing with that so far is um, obviously have all my old leads on HubSpot and on LinkedIn. So I've just put it all into HubSpot and I've gone through it, and now I'm kind of just going back through everyone, chatting everyone up and saying, hey, this is what I've got. This is what I'm doing now. And then if they're interested, do a call. If they're not,
So on
it
average,
is
how
what it
many
is.
leads are being added to HubSpot on a monthly basis? I'm trying to understand top of funnel leads.
Yeah, a lot. I don't know the exact number. It's over 1,000 though. Like, I don't think
Okay.
leads by any mean is, I have a shortage of it. Um, am I as good at following up on them all? No, probably not,
Got
because
it.
there's so many. I'd say that's part
Would
of
you
my
say like
problem.
those 1,000 are qualified leads?
No, no. So this is maybe a good question. Is I've tried both approaches. So say I post a resume template on
Yeah.
LinkedIn,
Like the
and
one you did a month ago and you had 630 likes right now.
yeah, that sounds like that was a good one. That was a good
So
example. It
you
worked out
said
well.
600 leads came from that because of the
Yeah,
scraping tool.
approximately 600. So there's a whole bunch of comments on there. And then
Yep.
in addition to that, I get tons of people reaching out to me that don't want to comment. They'll
Right,
message
because they
me
don't
because
want the
they don't want their
attention to
boss to
DM
see
you.
you.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So they'll send me a private message and connection instead. So I got about 6 to 650. I could pull up the actual number if I really wanted to look at it,
No,
but
no, no, no. So out of those 6 to 650, roughly, and this is more, I guess, to me. I'm just trying to do the math in my head
yeah,
and trying to obviously trying to see where the leakage is and all of that,
no,
right?
I get it.
Uh,
Out of those, I'm guessing you're going to ask how many I think are qualified.
yep, yep.
Um, I don't know is the best way that I
Okay.
put it. And the reason that I don't know is because I've tried that in the past and I've done both approaches. So I've done not qualifying and I've done qualifying. When I
Mhm.
qualify, I'll have 2 to 3 forms on Calendly and different things that they'll go through. The further they get into the forms, they kind of feel like there's like a sunken cost of not doing it anymore or like quitting the form. So they keep going. So the first one will be like name, email address. So there's some intent there. Then after that, qualify them for the sales call. And then a third one that kind of, it's basically almost a guarantee to me is really the way that I put it. Because if I can get somebody through all 3 forms and they're as that qualified and I've reached out to them and emailed them and so forth, my close rate on those people is like 95%. Like it always works out.
Yeah.
But I was having trouble qualifying people and finding the right people. So I'd only get 1 or 2 people a week into it, and I was selling like 3 to 4 clients at max per month at that with that kind of qualification process,
Hmm.
I guess, or system. So I switched, say the one with the lead magnet that you just talked about.
Yeah.
I didn't qualify anyone. So it's just a simple Calendly thing that they'll fill out. I'll
Yeah.
chat with everyone, DM them. I'll send them some questions in there that qualify them too, like, oh, have you purchased anything like this in the past? Have you had a career coach? Different things like that. How many applications have you sent out? And kind of
Hmm.
dive into their pains and so forth. And then after they go into the Calendly link, they fill out a few things. What's their title? How many interviews have you had? How long have you been job searching? All the typical ones you'd kind of imagine somebody would have. And then, how interested in are you in purchasing 1 to 5, or like investing into a solution like this? And how ready or committed are you to seeing it through? 1 to 5. Most people fill it out. It's all like 4s, 5s. Everything looks good. But then the price is like the biggest issue. It always seems like.
But
So
they
some
find out about the
people,
price on the call.
no, yes, on the call. So I don't tell them I switched to this and I don't know if it's working or if I even like it because I do a lot of calls and end up, I just can't sell clients.
So I just want to make sure I'm understanding correct. When you were talking about the qualified, you had 3 forms they had to fill before they got an
Correct.
opportunity to speak to you directly. That
Correct.
was leading to around 3 to 4 clients a
A
month,
month. Yeah.
and you were doing 1 or 2 calls a week.
Yeah. That sounds right. I
So
was
you're doing
doing
like 8 calls
per
for 4 clients, 50%, 40 to 50% closing rate.
month. Yeah, because there'd still be people that didn't work out. I'd say whenever I DM people on LinkedIn and message them and go through everything and they're already working or they're employed and they're not like unemployed or anything like that and they're trying to get a better job or earn more. Those people I pretty much close all the time. If I screw anything up in my qualification process before, then yeah, I'd be like 50 to 60% is probably pretty accurate. And then for the new one that I've been doing where I'm not telling them the price at all, and then they just jump on the call.
On the
I
three
haven't
forms,
sold
they know
anyone yet for it.
prices.
Sorry, what was that, Daniel?
So on the qualifying three forms, they found out about pricing.
No. It just gives them an idea. So it says,
Yeah, range.
are you ready to invest X to
Got it.
X? So it gives them like an example of what
Okay.
it may cost.
And then on the non-qualifying way,
Nothing about
right?
price.
There's no forms.
It's just Calendly link. So Calendly link, and then it's like a pre-customer survey in Calendly.
Yep. And how many calls are you having a week on that?
Right now, 6 to 7 calls per week.
And how long you been doing this way?
2 weeks. Or since, I think it's about a month. Whenever you said that lead post went out, that's about a month, I think.
Okay. And you said you haven't closed anybody through that way?
No, not a single person. I've got 3 calls scheduled tomorrow and then another call after that. I'm excited about all of them. They sound like they should work out, but who knows?
And the other ones, was it because they weren't qualifying, or how different were those leads really compared to the ones from the...
If I had to make an honest guess, I'd say it's because in the end, probably, all those calls that I did, none of them had jobs currently. So they were all unemployed. So they were looking for jobs. They were unemployed, recently laid off. If they have a job, a lot of the time they end up buying because they obviously have an income. So they're not as worried about it.
Yeah.
And then pricing. Pricing was always the biggest thing. So even at 2,500 to 4,000 USD, most people couldn't afford it, of course. And then the one-to-one and like other stuff like that, they definitely can't.
Sure.
I guess make that decision or investment without some type of income coming in.
What would you say? So, is your average number of clients that you're getting in the last 6 months? Not your best month, not your worst one.
On average, I'd say like 2 to 3 every month. Past few months, I've had 0, which is obviously why I'm in this call and looking for more help. I don't know what it is, why it's 0 now. I got 1 in December, and then I haven't sold anyone since December. I like resumes and stuff, like small stuff, $400 or $500 or whatever. Lots of those. So, I mean, I guess I could count those as clients, but no coaching stuff. Lots of people enrolling into school, but I haven't done any sales calls for school yet. Except, like I said, I did all those non-qualified calls and it didn't lead to anything. So,
what do you think happens? Sometimes you have a post that goes really, really viral, and then other times you get
total
3 or 4
junk.
likes.
I don't know what that is. It's very, very demotivating. I have a post on there with 10,000 likes. I've got one recently, like last month. All of a sudden, one week, I had like 1.5 million impressions on LinkedIn, even with the new algorithm. And they were just all working. They were all so good. I don't know what it was. I don't know. I have no idea why. How I do content is typically just reuse what I already know works. So I can try to reinvent the wheel and come up with something, but then I get 10 likes, which is stupid. So I use Taplio and some other tools on LinkedIn that just show me all my best posts.
Yeah.
I'll sit down in the morning, scroll through it, pick one, rewrite it, and then post it. And then some days it does really, really, really well. And then some days nobody sees it for whatever reason.
Do you do anything else to enhance your post?
Never. I've never done ads. I don't do engagement pods. I don't message anyone and say, hey, check my post out. I don't go in the DMs and interact with a bunch of people. I don't comment on anybody's stuff in the morning or like start sending out messages or liking stuff and engaging on the platform. I wake up, I write for 5 to 10 minutes, I click post. It works or it doesn't work. That's all I do.
Yeah. Really quick before we move on. So you get 2 to 3 clients. Tell me, what's your average revenue? Not your best month, not your worst month.
2024, it would be, let me do the math quick. Calculator.
You can say total in 2024 sports.
Total is 160,000 US.
Okay. Okay.
divided
So
by
it's like
12.
about
So 13.
14,000 a month.
Yeah, 13,
Yeah.
13, 14. Sounds right.
Okay.
Best month is like 35. Don't know what happened. I got a lot of referrals that month. Worst month is obviously 0.
Yeah. Um, in terms of delivery, so like I'm just going through the theory of constraint, right? Like I offer
Yep.
marketing. Uh, in terms of your client success, are you the only coach? Do you have part-time coaches? Do you have
Only one.
VAs?
I'm the only one. I'd love to. My whole goal is get out of doing one-to-one. I don't really want to do it. I'll take like some clients if I know they're really good and um, I'm not going to have any issues or anything, or I know the client personally and I really enjoy speaking with them, or I've been in their shoes or their situation. I know it works and I feel like I'm the best person for the job. Um, totally fine. I still like working with clients. I have no issue with it. I rarely get clients that I would say are difficult to work with. Most of the time, it's just commitment issues. If anything, I've never really had any clients that have been, like I said, difficult to work with. It's just uncommitted is probably the best way to put
Yeah.
it. But I'm the only coach. But I want to. My whole thing that I like to do is build, create, write,
Mhm.
all the business aspect of it. So coaching is awesome. Speaking with clients is awesome, but building the business and what goes around it, like even writing, when I'm writing and
Yeah.
coming up with topics, I really enjoy that. That's something I love to do. Or creating content and doing the graphics and the graphic design, or going
Mhm.
through people's profiles on LinkedIn and completely rewriting them. I like all that stuff quite a bit.
Yeah.
The coaching stuff becomes quite repetitive to me because I'm always kind of saying the same things. Somebody's
Yeah.
probably been in the situation that
Tried and
a new
true. If it
client is.
works, yeah.
Yeah. And it's
Don't
like,
make
well,
it.
this is what you have to do. And I already know what the answer is.
Yeah. I hear you. Do you have any sort of client success tools, or how are you tracking your success, or are you not doing any of that?
To clarify, do you mean like collecting testimonials or
No, more like think about like a CRM for client success, or like where you have a CRM for sales where it reminds you to follow up. Do you have some sort of systems and processes
no,
on?
none? I have my CRM for HubSpot,
Yeah,
or it is HubSpot. So I
yeah.
use that for leads. So like a lead pipeline.
Do you continue using it after they become a
No,
client to remind you to check in with them, or
no,
like
no, I don't do
so?
any of that. It's all, I should, and it's probably the number one thing I should be doing to make it way easier. Systematize everything, do operations and so forth. I haven't done any of it, to be honest. Um, I do everything based off of what I remember.
Yeah.
Luckily, I have a very good memory.
Yeah.
Um, and I
And right
think
now you
about my
still have a
business.
manageable amount of like you still have a manageable amount of clients. It's not
Yeah,
like
it's not like
so,
it's
so
not
it's
like
not
there's
like
too
your
many
things are
people.
falling through the cracks yet. I say that because a lot of times if you fix marketing and you're
Mm-hmm.
flooding and you're getting 2 to 3 clients a week,
Mm-hmm.
that then things start breaking in client success because you just don't have the
Yeah,
bandwidth,
that could
right?
make
So
total sense.
yeah,
I do everything just based off of memory. I record client conversations and so forth, but I don't go back and listen to them. Most of the
yeah,
time, I just remember what happened in the last one.
yeah,
And my memory is probably good enough that I could do it for like pretty large number of clients. Only because I sit here on my computer and do stuff with my business like 10 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, even Sunday
yeah.
and Saturday. If I didn't, yeah, it'd be pretty hard. And like you said, even I forget stuff sometimes. So it does definitely happen. I don't forget meetings or anything really large, but like maybe some check-in meetings or accountability emails, stuff like that.
Hmm.
Probably not as good at those, I'd say.
Tell me more about where you want your business to be by the end of this year.
Sure. So, a bit more about how I began my business quickly is I started this with, I'd say, little experience in coaching. I was still helping students. I was doing it at a much lower level than I was at. Then I quickly found out students don't have any money to spend. So it's very difficult to help students unless you're doing it for free.
Hmm.
But I was working in a lot of different groups on Discord and friends, family, all that fun stuff for students, new grads, and so forth, interested in fields I've already worked in. Or on Reddit, I've got a lot of viral posts on Reddit for the same thing. I get people messaging me about IT and software engineering, I don't know, 20 times a month, like clockwork for the last 2 years because of like 2 posts I have on there. So I started and just slowly began doing everything. I went from resumes to resumes and LinkedIn to resumes, LinkedIn coaching to just coaching packages and so forth. My very first year I did 6 figures, which was pretty cool. And then I feel like I've always just been stuck around the same mark. So like 100 to what I previously made, 160-ish. And I can't get over it. Some of my best months, like I said, 30,000 plus. Those were due to referrals. I had lots of referrals those months, so it worked out pretty good for me. Obviously, the packages that I sell, the one-to-one, some of the other big ones, if you get like a couple, you only need a few clients to do a really, really good month. But I'd like to do, I'm already past the 6-figure mark, of course. So my whole goal, I feel like if I could hit 50,000 a month, that'd be awesome. I'd be really happy with that. Dream goal would obviously be doing like $1 million a year business, an annual recurring revenue. Of course, I'd have to hire people, scale, all that fun stuff, and make less profit. But ultimately, I want to do more of the business aspect in the future. So I'd say that'd be my dream goal. So like ultimate 100,000 a month. Don't know how long that would take. Could do it really quick. Could take years. Who knows? And then more realistic, 30 to 50, at least in 2025 for sure. I have no doubt I can hit that. It should be easy. Like I said, I have a pretty good idea of a lot of what's missing. For the systems and operations side of things, I don't know how to do it. Not as familiar with that, and I hate CRMs. Used a lot of them at work, but haven't really set any up and anything like that. And then sales. I'd say sales is my biggest thing. I suck at sales. I've got this one guy right now.
I don't think you suck if you're closing at 50%.
I mean, my whole sales process is I don't have a sales process. So I got to go
that
onto
could
the
be a
call.
different. You might be like, but it's not. I don't know that sales is your biggest bottleneck yet.
No, you don't think so? A
No,
bit about it
I
is
have.
basically I go into it with the mindset that I'm not selling anything and I don't really care to sell anything. And if I just provide enough value and I'm likable, most of the time it works out pretty well for me. I've tried closing clients. They hate it. They don't like anything pushy at all. Every single time, no client has ever liked, like if I follow up once a week, or there's obviously, what's it called? A lot of people will suggest you put like a time frame on the decision. I don't think that works. Most people don't like it. But at the same point, I've got one guy. I did a call with him a little while ago. The call was about an hour. It's been like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 weeks maybe. Really good call. Got along with him. He loved everything I was doing. He was super interested. And now he's just like stuck in the decision phase. So I get a lot of clients like that where it's like they can't make the decision. It's probably the best way to put it.
So maybe it's not just within sales. It's not so much sales as much as
could
objection
probably
handling.
my offer too, or like how I'm
Yeah,
presenting the value
I think
to
it
it.
is the offer. I do think
Okay.
the offer positioning, but if you're watching this, this is a lead magnet. This is a way for you to see more of us. So if you're enjoying this content and you want more of this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're ready to take the next step and want to work with me and my team, then apply to work with us below. Great. I think I have a lot information now.
Awesome.
I want to make sure I kind of dive into what I think the next 3 actionable steps for your business would be, and how long I think it would take you to kind of fix them. Now, like anything else, man, you've been in business long enough. You've worked. It's business is a game we can never win. And so, like, for me to say, hey, this call is going to solve all your problems, it won't, right? Like anybody watching this, it won't, right? But my goal is to help identify what are the main bottlenecks in your business, help you prioritize which ones to solve in first, and kind of give you some strategies for with each, like some playbooks ideas on how to solve.
Yeah.
I believe that within the strategies, I think you'll see that you're going to be able to hit consistently $30,000 plus months.
Awesome.
I think that's very attainable for you.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's a lot easier to go from $30,000 to $80,000 a month than going from averaging 13,000 to 80,000. So like it's like obviously there's levels to it
for sure.
So the first when I think about the theory of constraint, like, and really quick, if you are watching this and you've never seen that video where I talk about the 10 steps from starting a career coaching business all the way to scaling it past 7 figures, you start with the offer. And the biggest thing I would say in your offer, this is actually not a big step because I don't necessarily think it's going to take you long to fix it. I think it's just minor tweaks. It's not about, and that would be having an offer positioned more. They're buying it for the transformation. So right now you're trading, you're essentially doing it towards time. You're saying, hey, I have my school community, it's 2K, right? It's 12 months, but they don't care if it's 12 months, 6 months, 9 months, 24 months. They are essentially paying 2K to get a job.
Right. So
Right.
one thing I'll mention about that is on my LinkedIn profile, and what I've done in the past is I've had a guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
I did the guarantee for 1-to-1. I don't know if I really love doing it. I do an action-based guarantee. So we either work with you for 12 months. Actually, no, sorry, that's not it. We basically guarantee that you get a job, or we'll work with you until you get a job. And then I put that all into a document, a legal contract that I send them. And within that is some goals they'll have. So like salary goals, total comp goals, title goals, all that fun stuff. So it's as legitimate as possible. That seemed to work really, really well. And then I'd sell them on earning more, landing a new job at a new company. Typically, most of my clients want to go work at like a higher tier or level of company, more prestige, better brand, and so forth. And then most importantly, that they'll enjoy working again. So like I have a client right now that makes $650,000 a year, an obscene amount of money, and they hate their job. They totally hate it. They don't want to work there. It sucks. And they're willing to take a $300,000 a year loss to change because they hate it. So a lot of the communities I've worked in are passionate about helping people find work that fulfills them. I'd say some people like that, some people don't. It's a lot easier to sell, I think, prestige or moving companies to something better. I find a lot of people that I work with really like that. And then I've had lots of clients interview at some of the best companies like NVIDIA and Meta and so forth. But I think you are right when you say some of the features and benefits I discuss in my program. I probably don't discuss the, what did you call it? The outcome or
And
dream situation in
that's more
depth
that I'm
enough.
saying.
Yeah.
It's like you don't change anything. Like they can still have access for 12 months, and most 99% will get a job within 12 months anyways.
Oh
So
yeah, all the time.
right, so that doesn't change anything. But when you are selling that, just the wording of
Yeah.
saying you're paying 2K to get a job, it's a lot easier to quantify in their head versus I'm paying around $200 a month.
Yeah. So for example, a lot of them will just, a lot of clients or people that I speak with will kind of tell me exactly what they want. I feel like I probably don't do a good enough job communicating back to them in like an enrollment call is what I call it, or strategy call or whatever it might be. It's just all a sales call really. I probably don't communicate back to them. Basically, here's what you told me you were looking for. That's exactly what you're going to get. It's kind of like their dream outcome of what they want. I probably don't do that. It's a good way to put it.
And so that's, and having some sort of a guarantee, which is a guarantee is we'll work with you until you get a job, could work. It could work. Also, if you're getting a lot of belief objections, which is in the sales where they're like, they don't believe it could work, or they don't believe in themselves that this could work. If you have a school community that's, you might think about offering like a 14-day money back guarantee, right? Like if they first join the program, right, and they're like, hey, I don't see value in this. Because the way I would say is something like that in a sales call would be like, hey, I can try to explain to you everything that you get, but we don't have enough time within this 30 minutes. So what I like to do is offer you a 14-day money back guarantee. So you can go into the community, come to our events, get to experience what it's like working with me more. And that way you're making this decision based on fact versus making this an emotional decision, because I know how important this is.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I should definitely be doing some type of like a risk-free guarantee? Like basically you're trying it risk-free. Obviously you still pay and make the payment and
Yeah.
move forward
And
with
so
it
it's
all.
like a
But then if
front
you
end
don't
and a
like
back
it,
end. Yeah.
yeah.
So like you have a front end protection and then you have a back end protection with like, we'll work with you until you get a job.
Yep.
And that way you'll also like you're going to close, your closing rate will go higher because it's like, hey, do you make decisions based on facts or emotions? Like, are you the type of person that makes, most of them make them based on emotion, but they'll say they'll make them based on facts because that's what we think we make decisions based on facts, but we're emotional creatures.
Yep.
And so I say, hey, because of that, I make decisions based on facts too. I want to give you access to the program risk
Yep.
free. So right, so like you obviously, and it works really well, and it will increase your closing rate. It will increase, and then you can promote that, right? You can even promote that on your LinkedIn and stuff like that, which then leads to more calls.
Yeah. And also I feel like if, like I said, I haven't really had any clients that have been really difficult. I can think of maybe 2 over the course of 4 years. But at the same point, if you just refund them and kind of they're out of the program, it makes it much easier for you as well as a career coach to not feel anxious going to work or like you're going to have to
Yep.
work with somebody you don't want to work with. You kind of build the community that you
Yep.
set out to build and that you enjoy working with.
Yep. Now, for us to get to, let's say, a goal of you getting to the point where you're actually going to be generating 50K a month,
Yep.
right? You're really going to need, right? Like if we can say that the lifetime value of a client on average is $5,000. You have 2K clients, you have 7K clients. Like let's say we
Yep.
can get to that at the lifetime value. We need 10 clients, right?
Yeah.
So usually to get 10 clients, what we found, it takes about 40 leads, 40 leads to get one client. And when we talk about 40 leads is what we qualify as leads. What I call a lead is someone that I put into a CRM or our client puts into a CRM, but
Yep.
they're in the ICP, right? And
Yeah. Do they
which is
show
why I was
intent or
asking you what
anything?
your definition. Excuse me.
Do they show intent to purchase or anything like that, or they're
So
just
yes,
ICP?
there's at least a reply. So either so there's 3 forms of leads that we get, right? We have
Yep.
inbound, which highest closing rate,
Awesome.
easiest to close, right?
Mm-hmm.
But less than 10% of leads come from inbound generally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then you have warm outbound, which are most of your leads, probably 80% of your leads will come this way. These are people that liked, commented, or viewed your profile.
Yeah.
So they know who you are, but they didn't message you first.
Right.
But you can start the conversation, and then if they reply or accept your connection request, then to me, that's when you add them as a lead because they're your ICP and they know who you are.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have cold leads. So if you are we work with coaches, not all of our coaches have 400K followers.
Yeah.
Then you have, none of all our clients coaches have. Then you have cold outbound, which is people who are your ICP that you find on LinkedIn and you just send them a connection request and start the conversation. And the reply rate is more like around less than 10%, like it's cold, right?
Yeah, it's low.
But so you get about 10% of your leads coming that way, depending on if you need to do that anyways. Like if your posts are getting enough traction, then you're going to get enough leads within inbound and warm to be able to hit the leads goals that you need to be able to hit the sales calls to get the client calls, right? So like a funnel.
Yep.
So when I think about it for you in your perspective, right? If we want to get to a point of getting to, let's say, $25,000 first and then scale up, then 25,000, that's going to require 5 clients. 5 clients divide times 50 times 40 leads, like based on those qualifications, right? It's going to require you 200 leads a month, which is 50 leads a week.
Yeah, that should be
right? So
pretty easy.
If I'm in your shoes, I'll be like, how do I get 50 leads a week or 50 new members into the school community? Because like if they join school and you accepted them, that's a lead. If they fill out a lead magnet, that's a lead. If they like, comment on your profile and they're your ICP, that's a lead.
Right.
So if I understand that I need 200 leads a month, that's going to generate, right? That's ultimately going to trickle down to about 5 clients at that lifetime value of 5K. Then you're going to get there, right? Now, the question is, how do I get enough traction to do that? And here's the thing about LinkedIn, which is like the biggest lever that you can pull today, and it's going to take you a couple of weeks, maybe a month or so to ramp up. With the way that the algorithm has worked is that LinkedIn has been gamified. And I hate this. I hate this a lot. I've been on LinkedIn for a long time. I think the algorithm will recorrect itself or update again
Yeah.
future. But what ultimately has happened is in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of LinkedIn accelerators have been popping up. So Chris Dowling has one.
Oh yeah, the creator accelerator
Right,
stuff. Yeah.
those creator accelerators. And what essentially those creator accelerators do is they essentially help you write content that goes viral, right? And people want to share because share is the number one indicator of your post going viral. So the more shares you
Yep.
get, the more your post goes on. But what happens is that there's so many people that go through those accelerators, and one of the components that is taught in those accelerators is one-to-one engagement. So the engagement pods have been around for a while. LinkedIn
Hmm.
started kind of like punishing when they realized that you were an engagement pod. People
Yeah.
didn't, right? People didn't want to admit that they were an engagement pod. So what's happening is that people are secretly having one-to-one engagement pods through WhatsApp groups, and that's
Gotcha.
leading to people that have content that's, let's say, B-level content, not like,
Yeah, it's a lot of it's so bad.
right, a lot of it is like copy and paste of what's working, uh 80% AI generated. Maybe they spend a little bit more time on the hook because the hook is the most important. But if they have an engagement agreement with 50 other creators because they met them at these accelerators,
Hmm.
they're guaranteed to get um 75 likes in the first hour. And if you can get a lot of likes in the first hour, the algorithm will automatically boost it naturally. And so the challenge that you're having, and a lot of creators who are not currently playing the game,
Hmm.
is that your posts, LinkedIn thinks your posts are not that good because they're not getting that many likes in the first hour, like every other creator that it is doing that.
Yeah, I found my situation is very strange. So some of my posts that have went extremely viral, some of the largest posts on the platform, I imagine. Although I've seen some really, really big ones. Um, I find that they start off really slow, like really, really slow, like I don't know, 20, 30 likes in an hour. And then all of a sudden there's 300 and then 5,000 and then there's 10,000 likes. And it's kind of, it goes over the course of 3 or 4 days a lot of the time. Um, so I feel like what LinkedIn's doing is lengthening the life of a lot of posts. So people obviously come back to the platform and continue to use it, as opposed to in the past, what I saw was like your post would explode for 24 hours and then it'd be dead and nobody would ever see it again. It's the same thing with TikTok and Instagram and all these other things. And now it's like they have a shelf life of
Yeah.
however long. So people keep coming back and re-engaging and so forth. But yeah, some of my posts will do really well. Some won't. I'm not in any, like you said, I'm not playing the game, is the
Yeah.
best way to put it. But it does make sense that uh, you see the same people always doing really, really well on the platform, because if
They
you also
gamified it.
have, yeah, if you have like 5 to 10 people even, and they all have 100K and they're all commenting and liking and resharing your stuff, your audience size is just like 10x instantly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that
And
makes
so
total sense.
so look, life is a trade-off of time and money. And so they bought a way to get into the right circles. And I say that because, like, to be honest with you, I'm gonna launch my own accelerator, right?
Hmm.
Because I've worked with a lot of people who went through the accelerator. So like I would say half of our clients have a large following, and then half of
Yep.
our clients are just kind of like in the 10K mark or less.
Yep.
And it's a lot easier to scale 20, 30, $40,000 a month once you have some social proof on the platform, and we're able to do that. And so uh, it is one of those things that has been gamified. You still need to have great content. You still need to have really good backgrounds. So like you still need to have testimonials. You still need to know what you're talking about. If you
Hmm.
have that plus a really strong social media, that's how you build uh, a seven-figure business
100%.
organically, right? You can always build a seven-figure business through ads. It's a whole different ballgame. We're not really talking about that. We're talking about just the LinkedIn platform. So um, for the longest, probably for the last 6 7 months, I've been trying to take the high moral ground of saying like, hey, like I just want to let my post do the talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, like I just
It
felt like
doesn't work really.
it didn't work. It didn't work. And so I've recently started like doing it with my clients, and essentially beta testing what we're going to do in the accelerator. And overnight, like essentially, my posts have, multiple 5 10x And that's also led to 5-10x in leads. Maybe not exactly correlated to that,
Yep.
but it's still at least 4x my leads, and even see the same results for clients. So like I do think thinking about investing into joining an accelerator or one of the things that I do think you will eventually need is hire a VA, because a lot of
Yeah.
the things that is required to do that is engaging in other people's posts. And by the way, there's
Oh, it
GPT
takes up so
bots
much
that do
time.
that. It takes way too much time. Your time is way too valuable. You can find someone to do
The
that at a low value task.
I had a few of those posts go really, really viral, and I sat on LinkedIn the whole day, just the whole
Yes.
day replying to
Yes.
comments.
Yeah.
It was brutal. It was just
Yeah.
like, and it's actually your whole day. Like you literally, there's so many comments and stuff coming in. If you want to respond, keep your post
Yeah.
growing. It's like the whole day's worth of work is gone to something pretty much meaningless, and to be honest, but
Yeah. So like if I recap this right, step one, I do think optimize your offering and add those guarantees. Step two, I would actually focus on going more like doubling down on your LinkedIn content, which includes engagement, engaging with other creators for them to engage with you.
yeah.
Right. So like create those engagement agreements. If you can build, like, for example, the month of March, get 50 creators to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Then every time your post goes live, you'll know you have 50 comments. That's going to guarantee that each of your posts will get at least 150 to 200 at the low end. That becomes your low. And then if once in a while they go viral, you're going to get one or two posts a week that goes 500, 1,000 likes.
Yeah.
That's just going to drive. Now, that's also going to lead to a lot more work of be able to mine those leads. Anybody that likes, comments, and views your profile. This is where I would hire at least a part-time VA to 20 hours a week. You can find somebody in Colombia for $500, anywhere in the world, way, way cheaper, right? But I think $500 to invest to take over the first conversation, not like the whole conversation, but the first conversation, and doing engagement. So if they're spending 2 hours a day doing engagement, commenting on those 50 creators, right? And then they spend another 2 hours a day looking at anybody that likes, comments, and views your profile, adding them to the CRM, and then getting them to the school community.
Yeah,
right?
gotcha.
That 4 hour it's gonna be the best investment you make. Huge.
Yeah,
because
that makes sense.
if you tell that person and say, hey, I need you to get at minimum, like your KPI is 10 leads a day.
Mm-hmm.
That's super easy for them to do in 2 hours.
Yeah, it doesn't take much, honestly.
It doesn't get so like. You even say, I actually think you should do 20 leads a day. If you do 20 leads a day, because you can do 20 leads a day if your posts are doing good. If not, you're going to have to do 20 leads of cold outbound, which don't convert the same way. Right? So 20 leads a day.
I tried cold outbound. It's hard. We did have some success doing it, but it's like you said, like the scale, how much you have to do.
The conversion rate is super low.
And the conversion rate's so low. Most people just aren't interested.
Yeah. So get a VA, build systems and processes on what is this, like create a GPT on how to reply to it. Get them to find 50 creators to engage on your stuff, and you engage on theirs. Have the VA take over the engagement. The other creators don't care if you're engaging in them or someone else. They just care that they're getting your 10,000 plus account engaging on theirs, right? That's then going to fill up your school community, because if you're able to get this VA to do 20 leads a day, that's 400 leads a month. If you can even convert half of them into your school community, that's 100 new school members every single month on like a clockwork, like at a minimum, let alone anything else that your post goes viral, let alone anything else from your newsletter, let alone for anything else that you do additionally, right? And then the third is that you just want to be able to, when they're inside the school community, you want at least 15 to 30% on the low end, 15, high end 30% of those free community members to schedule sales calls.
Right.
And you want to get to a point where at a low end 10% to 20% of your school members are upgrading to your more expensive one.
Yeah, the one-to-one?
Yeah. And to me,
I would from free to the paid one.
At least free to the pay or to a sales call. And then based on the sales call, you determine which one's a better fit for them based on their goals, their background, their aspirations, their budget, right? So like, I would determine, like, unless they automatically want to upgrade themselves because they see this information in the free community and they click upgrade and they bought, great, and they can upgrade themselves. But if you're going and having them apply to work with me, or you're offering a free strategy session, or your VA is helping you set up those calls for you, the sales discovery should just be like, let me identify what is the best program for them
Yeah.
based on what they currently have, currently how much they make, do they have a job or not, what, like all those things that you've captured in 4 years. Then you can ultimately then sell them on the right package, whether it's the 15K because they're making 600,000 and they value their time and they're just right,
Yeah.
or if it's the 7K or if it's the 2K.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Thoughts, questions, follow up questions for me?
Yeah, I have one question maybe. You mentioned about 80% of your leads come from like warm outbound.
Mm-hmm.
I know I don't do enough warm outbound.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is inbound, which is why I was able to close a lot of sales when I was
Yep.
doing referrals or anything else. It all worked out pretty well. How long have you been on LinkedIn? Quite a while, I imagine, Daniel.
Since 2012.
Okay, so you've seen it all. Do you
Yeah.
think over the last, I feel like 2023, 2024, like I didn't have to do as much. And now it seems like 2025, like DMing and warm outbound is like the complete game changer. Like if you're doing that, it's pretty easy to hit a lot of the goals that I want to do. As
Mm-hmm.
opposed to if I didn't do it at all, it's probably really, really difficult.
Exactly. Like what ultimately happens is that you can get 1 or 2 clients a month consistently based on your background and your testimonials
Yeah.
just by posting on LinkedIn, right? So like it, that's great. It's just after that, because the inbound clients are closing at 40%, 50%.
Yeah.
They know you. They probably been stuck like following your posts secretly without commenting or liking for a
Oh, for
long time,
sure.
right? Right. According to Google, it takes 7 hours, 11 different times, and 4 different places for to take a stranger to a customer.
Okay.
Um, but when you do the warm outbound, you're essentially starting the conversation faster, and so you're essentially
Right.
getting them like the way that I tell my like appointment setters or like the marketing VA associate you want to call it, right? Is how do we get them to consume 7 hours of your content as fast as possible? And the fastest way is through your school community. I'm
Yeah,
assuming because you
videos. I
have
feel
videos.
like the video aspect of it makes a huge difference
Yep.
compared to. I've sold lots of
Yep.
clients just through DMs without ever doing a sales call, and it just comes down to I seem like a very genuine person. I give them
Yep.
a lot of info, and I don't bullshit them or
Yep.
try to sell them really hard or pitch
Yep.
them in those messages. And sometimes I'm messaging people for like an hour. But
Yep.
like you said, the video, they can just do it at their own time frame. I've got like testimonials within there, a wins section for clients who are getting interviews just within the free community even.
Yep.
It's kind of just accelerated all of that significantly.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think the best way to think about it is like you wouldn't marry somebody you just met. So you actually go
Yeah.
from like seconds.
Yeah.
So they first read your post, that takes seconds. Then in the DM spend minutes talking to them. And
Mhm.
then they go spend hours with you in the school community, and then they spend months with you in the paid community. So
Gotcha.
it's like a domino effect. I actually like wrote a post about this. It will go out in a couple of weeks, but that's like it's like a domino effect. It takes seconds for them to decide they want to spend minutes with you, minutes to hours, hours to then months, because that's at that point the trust is built,
Yeah.
and then and they feel like you're the person.
Yeah. Um, yeah, no, that all makes sense. This was really helpful. Um, how did you find switching to your school community? You think it made a huge difference? Or what
To
were
be
you doing
honest,
before?
I don't know. I think I've been running the school community wrong. So
Oh, okay.
we're reamping the community. Actually, just reamping it this week.
Yep.
Starting to reamp it this week. So, um, I did the community because I'm just a big Hermosi fan. Like you are too. I saw you
Yeah.
posted about it.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of slowly did it. I wasn't doing a good job, but I just came back from acquisitions.com headquarters.
Oh,
Because
cool.
I've been working. I've been there twice now, so like I'm in this like program with them,
Yep.
and
Very
they
cool.
essentially gave me a playbook on how to run the school community better. And one of the things that takes to take somebody from a free community to a paid program is two, the content and what's inside the community, and second is what's the conversation that you're DMing them inside the community. So
I
you
think,
actually still need to have an appointment setter inside.
yeah, that makes sense. People like engagement and they like to feel like you care about them. and that they're
Yep.
more than just a number. So, I mean, that makes total sense. I feel like with school, a lot of it is engagement. If you can build a community that is really, really engaged, and people are always in there, always using the platform, messaging you, messaging other people,
Mm-hmm.
reacting to posts,
Yep.
posting their own questions, it works pretty well. But it's the same with any community. If you have one that's like on the lower end, people aren't engaging, it's really difficult to do anything with it, I feel.
To your point, there's two main community models. There's the guru model where like you will stay on top and everyone is connected through you. And so as soon as they don't have good experience with you because you don't reply, they disconnect. But if
Oh,
you have a
okay.
community model where people are getting a value from each other,
Yep.
even if you're not replying as fast because you're busy with your paying clients, they're still getting value with each other. And what we found in our career coaches community, we never wanted to be a guru model. So like
No, that makes sense.
if you notice, I never really actually give advice and tell people what to do. It's more of open-ended questions. I bring in guests to be, so like, obviously my advice is more on the paid side, but I
Yeah.
want to build this collaboration community. And so what's cool is that. And so then people are engaging with each other. Like, actually, like, here's a hack. If you want to get people to engage with your content, go to just message people inside the community who are active. You'll get the 50 people super fast.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like with my community, or even with job seeking, even if the person's seeing success in finding a job or getting promoted or whatever it might be, their ultimate goal, they also know a lot still. So they have their own knowledge, things they've tried,
Yeah.
things that haven't worked out, and they can normally answer any questions. So like I'll put out an answer to something in the school group, and then a lot of people will just piggyback off of it and be like, "Oh, this
Yep.
worked for me," or
Mm-hmm.
"This is what I tried. This is what I did," and then also I've kind of pitched it as like a networking thing where you
Yep.
join, you can speed up your networking and connect with all these people and meet these
It's
people in
true.
coffee chats and stuff, instead of just a lot of people's fear is going on LinkedIn, sending a DM. They hate it. So it's way easier when it's
Absolutely.
like a community of people that you already know want to do that. That's probably the
It's
best
like
way to
why
put it.
universities, I know you say you didn't go to the universities or didn't get a degree, but like part of the university's value is the network that you build. And so it's the same thing
100%.
within. So we're big fans of having our clients all have three main pillars in their program, which is accountability, community, and strategy. So like you're already providing the strategy, right? That's your once they're in the paid side, you should be the guru kind of at that point.
Yep.
You have accountability. I think is really important to get them to execute faster, which accountability can be done by your VA because it's not coaching. Coaching is on
Right.
the strategy. And then
Just making sure
community,
people do
which,
what they're supposed to do.
yeah, just checking up on you. Like, hey, you say last time we spoke, you were going to apply to this 10 companies. How'd it go? How's it going? Like it's like you're in, oh, but I'm stuck here. Oh, yeah, watch this video. Like, it's in the community. This is exactly how to find it. Or here's the resource, or here's the template. Like, it's like you're helping them move forward. Yeah. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. What do you do from here, Daniel, with your programs?
so from here, we have well, it depends. Like we obviously dive into a little bit more of your goals, but
Yeah.
we have a couple of programs depending on where you are, and we help them implement the systems and processes to it. So like take off all the guesswork from doing this.
Cool. You have a paid school community, or you do like one-to-one?
It's not paid, so we actually moved from school to Slack, and I'll show you
Oh, okay.
offhand once we stop recording why. But
Sure.
mainly because we do a lot of hands-on, a lot of one-on-one support, and it's not just me. I have about 15 full-time employees to support me on this,
Cool.
and then that leads. School doesn't. It's not good for like we have a group Slack channel with our client, and then their VA if they have one, and our team or any
Yeah.
employees that they have. And so there's a lot of one-to-many supports. Like you might have a question, and then we can support you a lot faster. Well, you can't do that in school. In school, is either a one-on-one DM or it's public to everyone. And so
Gotcha.
I'm not able to do our style of coaching there.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
But let me wrap this up, and then we can continue talking. But like Alejo, I think you're gonna have to edit this part out. But Regan, honestly, based on everything that I see, if you just simply optimize your offer a little bit,
Yeah.
um, double, like, unfortunately, you have to join the gamify
Yeah.
LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a VA to help you with the engagement and lead gen and
Mhm.
funneling them to the school community. That's gonna get you to the point where you're getting 10 sales calls to 20 sales calls a week. And then that's gonna obviously lead to the number of clients you need to get to $40,000. Like, it's very clear. What's gonna happen is, like, when you get to a point where you're getting one client a week, so when you
Yep.
double your client count, your bottleneck then becomes client success, and that's just a whole different conversation from there.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I think you kind of hit all the spots, bang on the head, like I said earlier. That makes sense. The LinkedIn thing does suck. It is what it is. I
It
kind of seen
sucks.
the exact same thing on
It
LinkedIn.
sucks.
You'll always see there's like a few small, and I shouldn't say small because they have like 100,000 followers, but there's like a handful of people that are very against it that don't do it. And they've
Yep.
kind of been really lucky, I'd say, to get to where they are. Obviously, they put in the work too and so forth, but not everybody's posts are going to go viral. So kind of is
Yep.
what it is. And if you want to win at a lot of stuff, you're forced to play the game. It just is what it is, like you said. But yeah, to scale, I think it makes total sense. And the VA thing for sure. I've been contemplating getting one for a while, and it'd free me up a lot of time, so I wouldn't have to sit here for 12 hours. Or I made a post about this recently, but a lot of people just do busy work. I see it with a lot of my clients where they do work that they like to do because it's easy, and they avoid
Yep.
the work that is very difficult to do or that they are not as good at. For example, if I go to the driving range golfing, I love to hit all my irons and wedges because I'm really good at it. But if I want to go swing my driver, I try to swing it 10 times and I'm horrible. I'm just horrible with it. So I put it back in the bag and I'm like, not today. I'll do it another day. Same thing with career coaching and clients
Yep.
with their work. And a lot of the work that I do each day, I probably shouldn't be doing it because it's not really worth my time, or like the value of it isn't where it should be as opposed to what I
Which is not
could be
allowing
doing.
you to scale faster and getting you to do the other work that you actually really love and enjoy and do this in a long and sustainable way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, Regan, thank you so much for doing this. This has been great. And if you're watching this, if you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so now. See you guys.